Okay, in lesson 14, we're basically just applying what we already know to word problems, real world situations. And let me get my pointer. All right. Says Mr. Albano wants to paint menus on the wall of his cafe in chalkboard paint. The gray area below shows the rectangular menus will be. Where the rectangular menus will be. Each menu will measure 6 feet wide and 7.5 feet tall. And the first question is saying how many square feet of menu space will he have? Well, as you can see, each one of these right here is going to be 6 feet and by 7.5. So if we were to do a not a tape diagram, but an area model for this problem, we would say 6 feet, and this is 7.5, and we'd get 6 times 7, which would be 42, and 6 times 1/2, which would equal 6 halves, which equals 3. So when we add 42 plus 3, we get 45, and that would be feet squared. So that's how much menu space you will have. Next says, what is the area of the wall space that is not covered by the chalkboard paint? Well, if we continue with our area model, we can see the whole wall is 25, and I'm going to do it this way, 25 by 13 and 2/3. So we can see the first one's going to be 25 times 13, and this is going to be 25 times 2/3, which this one's easy. It's going to be 50 thirds, and 50 thirds, we can see 3 goes into 5 one time, leaves us 2, we bring down a 0. 3 will go into 26 times, that's going to be 18, leaving us 2, so it'll be 2/3. So this is going to equal 16 and 2/3 here. Now we've got to do 25 times 13. 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 3 is 6, 1 is 7. Put our placeholder with a 5 and a 2, and we got 5, 12, 325. So this area here is 325. So the total area is going to be 325 plus 16 and 2/3, which is 11, 4, 341 and 2/3 feet squared. Now they want to know the area of the space that will not be covered. Okay, well we know 45 feet will be covered. So we've got to subtract that from it. That's going to be 3, 6, 9. So 296 and 2/3 feet squared would not be covered. Mr. Albano wants to put tiles in the shape of a dinosaur at the front entrance. He will need to cut some tiles in half to make a figure. If each square is 4.5 inches on each side, what is the total area of the dinosaur? Well, first off, let's see how many squares we have. I'm going to number them. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 12 holes. Now, since I said to cut them in half, I know I can take these two. That's another one, so it'll be 13. This one and this one would be 14. These two would be 15. These two would be 16. And these two would add it up to be 17. So now I know I have 17 total squares. And that makes it easier doing it like that. Because now I know I have 17 on this side. And it says the squares, each tile is 4.5 inches on each side. So now I can find the area of one tile. And I know it's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And this is going to be 16 because 4 times 4. This is going to be 4/4, which is equal to 1 whole. This one here is going to be 4/4, which is equal to 1 whole. And this is going to be 1/16. So we can see now it's going to be, there's 17 on this one. Coming across as 1 1/16. So it's going to be 18 1/16 inches squared. But now I know I have 17 of them. So I'm going to bring the 18 1/6 over here. And I know this one's going to be 17/6, which I know 6 will go into 17 2 times, which is 12. Be 5 left over, so it'll be 5/6. Now we're going to come over here and we got 18 times 17. 8 times 7 is 56. 7 times 1 is 7, and 5 would be 12. Put our placeholder. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. Be 6, 10, 306. So when you add these two together, we have 306 inches squared to 2 5/6 inches squared. So we're going to have 308 5/6 inches squared in total. A Glass Plus Glass is making windows for a new house that is being built. The box shows the list of sizes they must make. How many square feet of glass will they need? Okay, so first we have to figure out the area on each window, on each size. So we can see this one is going to be 4 3/4 by 3 3/5. And the second one is going to be 2 4/5 by 6 1/2. So let's go ahead and solve these. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3/4 is going to give us 9/4, which is equal to 2 1/4, because 4 we're going 9 2 times, leave 1 left over. 3/5 times 4 is going to give us 12/5, which equals 2 2/5, because 5 goes into 12 2 times with 2 left over. And the last one is going to be 9/20. So when we add these up, I've got 12 and 2 1/4, which is going to give us 14 1/4. And then we have 2 2/5, which is going to give us 16. And we know 1/4 plus 2/5, they have a common of 20. So if I multiply 1/4 by 5, I'm going to get 5/20. Plus multiply 2/5 by 4, I'm going to get 8/20, which equals 13/20. So now I got 16 13/20, but also I have to add 9/20 in there for our last block. So we're going to end up with 16 22/20, which equals, that'd be 20 going to 22 one time, so it'll be 17 2/20. I'm not going to reduce it because it's not required. So, and we're not done with it anyway. So I know this one here has an area of 17, and I guess I would reduce it. I'm going to divide them by 2 times 1 and 2 times 10, be 1/10. So we got 17 1/10. And that's feet squared here. Now for the second one, again, 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 4/5 is going to be 24/5, which equals 4 4/5. It's going to be 2 seconds, which equals to 1 4/10. So when we add these together, I got 12 and 4 be 16. 16 4/5. And here I've got 1 4/10, which is going to give me 17. 4/5 multiplied by 2 would give me 8/10. So it's going to give us 12/10, which is going to be equal to 17 plus 10 to go into 12 one time with 2/10 left over. So that's going to give us 18 2/10, which we can simplify that by dividing by 2, and we'd have 2 times 1 and 2 times 5. So it's going to give us 18 1/5. So we know this one is 18 1/5. Now to solve the total, we have to multiply them again. I'm going to do it over here this time. Our first one was 17 1/10, and we're saying we have 15 windows. So this is going to end up with 15/10, which is equal to 1 5/10, which is also equal to 1 1/2. Now we have 17 times 15. 7 times 5 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5, and 3 is 8. But our placeholder 7 and 1 gives us 255. So 255 and 1 1/2 gives me 256 1/2 feet squared. And that's for all those windows. So I'm going to write that up here. 256 1/2 feet squared. Now our last one, we can see the 7, and this one was 18 1/5, which is going to be 7/5, which equals 1 2/5. Now 17 times 8, 18 times 7 is going to be 56. 7 is 12. So this is going to be 126. So this is going to equal is 127 2/5. Now once the total amount, so now I've got to add both of them together, 256 1/2, which is 13 8 3, and 2/5 a 1/2 can be turned into tenths. So it'll be 5/10, so it'll be 7/10. So there's our total, 383 7/10. Mr. Johnson needs to buy seed for his backyard lawn. If the lawn measures 40 4/5 by 50 7/8, how many square feet of seed will he need? Okay, so we're going to do an area model again. And this time, we're going to split it up. Draw another one on the bottom here to help out. And the top we're going 40 4/5. And this type is 50 7/8. Well, I know 4 times 5 is 20, and I got 10 times 10, so that's going to be 2,000. Then 50 times 4/5 is going to give me 200 fifths, which is 5 will go into 24 times, so it's going to be 40. This one here, 40 times 78, 7 times 14, so it's going to be 280 eighths. And 8 will go into 20, and let's do over here 280 for you. Divided by 8, 8 will go into 28 3 times, which gives us 24. Leaves us 40, and 8 goes into 45 times. So this is going to equal 35. And the last one, we got 7/8 times 4/5, which is going to give us 28 40ths. So when we add all this together, we have 2,000, we have 35, we have 40, which we're going to have 2,075 and 28 40ths. Now we could simplify this, and let's say I can see 4 will go into both of them, so I know 4 times 7 would be 28, and 4 times 10 would be 40. Take up my common ones, and I'm going to end up with 2,075 and 7/10 feet squared. One bag of seed will cover 500 square feet. If he sets his seed spreader to the lowest setting of 300 feet square feet. Let's read this again. 1 bag of seed will cover 500 square feet if he sets his spreader to the lowest setting, and 300 square feet if he sets it to the highest setting. How many bags of seed will he need to use the highest setting? Well, it said here the highest setting will give him 300 square feet. So if we do 275 and we're going to divide that by 300, well, we can see this. Let's just go with 6. That's going to give us 1,800. And it's 5, 7. So that'd be 275 left over. So it'd be 275 300ths. So we can see it wouldn't be 6 bags. We'd need to do 7 bags. So the highest would equal 7 bags. Now the lowest setting, it says 500 square feet. So once again, we do 2,075, divide that by 500, and we know that's going to go 4, going to be 2,000, and there's 75 left over, so it'd be 75 500ths. And that's good enough because we know now we'd end up with 5 bags. So 7 bags for the highest setting, 5 bags for the shortest setting. Well, hold on. Let's look at this other one for a second, because it says it was actually 7/10. So let's see if we'd end up more than 7 bags for the high setting real quick, just to make sure. Because we had 275 300ths and 7/10. If I want to multiply that by 30 to get common denominators, that'd be 210 300ths. So 275 300ths plus 210 300ths would equal 485 300ths. So in all actuality, we would have 6 and 485 300ths, which equals 6 plus 1 and 185 300ths, which equals 7 and 185 300ths. So we would actually need 8 bags for the high setting, not 6. So let's go ahead and change that to 8 bags. It would make a difference on the low setting because 75 500ths is